Here's something nobody in the Florida real estate industry wants you to know. Your property taxes might go down this year. Your oil might freeze its fees. The housing market might even cool off a little. None of that matters. Because there's a single line item in your monthly budget that is quietly growing large enough to cancel out every other financial benefit Florida ever offered you. And most retirees don't see it coming until the renewal notice is already sitting on their kitchen counter. I'm talking about your homeowner's insurance, and in 2026, for hundreds of thousands of retirees across Florida, that number just became the most dangerous number in their entire retirement plan. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening, what the real dollar figures look like compared to other states, and where the retirees who are getting ahead of this are quietly relocating before the window closes. If you own a home in Florida, or you're planning to retire there, what I'm about to tell you could save you tens of thousands of dollars. Let's get into it. The crisis, how we got here. To understand what's happening in 2026, you have to go back a few years and trace how Florida's insurance market got to this point, because it didn't collapse overnight. It eroded, slowly at first, then all at once. Florida has always been a high-risk state for property insurance. That's not new. Hurricanes, flooding, sinkholes, these are known variables that insurers have priced into Florida policies for decades. But something changed in the last several years that pushed the market past the point of manageable risk into something much more serious. First, the climate picture shifted. The frequency and intensity of named storms hitting Florida increased in ways that actuarial models from 15 years ago simply didn't anticipate. When a major hurricane makes landfall, it doesn't just destroy homes, it triggers a cascade of claims that can cost a single insurer billions of dollars in a matter of weeks. After a string of costly storm seasons, multiple private insurers made a decision that should have sent alarm bells ringing across every retirement community in the state they left. Not reduce their exposure, not raise their rates, they exited the Florida market entirely. Between 2021 and 2024, more than a dozen insurance companies either went insolvent or voluntarily withdrew from Florida. That includes names that had been operating in the state for decades. When private insurers leave a market, homeowners don't just lose their provider, they lose competition. And without competition, the remaining carriers can charge whatever the market will bear. And right now, the market is bearing a lot. The second factor accelerating this collapse is something that doesn't make headlines as often as hurricanes, but costs the industry nearly as much litigation. Florida has historically accounted for a disproportionately large share of all homeowner insurance lawsuits filed in the United States. At one point, Florida represented less than 9% of all homeowner claims nationally, but more than 70% of all homeowner insurance lawsuits. Assignment of benefits fraud, attorney fee multipliers, and a legal environment that made it extremely costly to dispute even questionable claims. All of this drove up the operational cost of writing insurance in Florida to levels that simply weren't sustainable for many carriers. The state legislature has made attempts at reform. Some of those reforms have had limited positive effects, but the damage done to carrier confidence over the previous decade doesn't reverse quickly, and the reinsurance market, the insurance that insurance companies themselves buy to manage catastrophic risk, has become dramatically more expensive globally. Those costs get passed directly to consumers. The result is what we're seeing in 2026. Homeowners across Florida are receiving renewal notices with premium increases that range from 30% on the low end to over 50% for properties in high-risk coastal zones. And for retirees on fixed incomes, a 50% increase in their annual insurance premium isn't a budget inconvenience. It's a financial crisis. The real numbers, what this actually costs a retiree. Let me put some concrete figures around this, because the abstract language of premium increases doesn't capture what this actually means for a retired couple living on Social Security and a modest pension. The average homeowner's insurance premium in Florida in 2023 was approximately $6,000 per year. That's already the highest average in the continental United States, roughly 3 times the national average at the time. By 2025, that figure had climbed to somewhere between $7,500 and $8,500 for a standard single-family home, depending on location, age of the home, roof condition, and proximity to the coast. In high-risk areas Miami-Dade, Broward, certain parts of Southwest Florida, annual premiums on modest homes were already pushing $10,000 to $15,000 before the most recent round of increases. Now apply a 40% increase to those numbers. You're looking at annual premiums of $10,500 to $12,000 for a mid-range home in a mid-risk area. For a coastal property, you could be looking at $14,000 to $20,000 per year just for the base homeowner's policy, before flood insurance, which is a separate, mandatory policy for most Florida homeowners and has its own significant cost trajectory. Here's what that means in practical terms. The average Social Security retirement benefit in 2025 is approximately $1,900 per month, or roughly $22,800 per year. For a retired couple both receiving benefits, that's around $45,600 per year in combined Social Security income, and that's before accounting for Medicare premiums, which are deducted directly from those payments. If your homeowner's insurance bill is $12,000 per year, you are spending more than 25% of your gross Social Security income on a single insurance policy. Add flood insurance at an average of $1,000 to $2,500 per year. Add property taxes. Add HOA fees, which in many Florida retirement communities run $400 to $700 per month. Add utilities, which spike dramatically during Florida's long, brutal summers. By the time you add it all up, many Florida retirees are discovering that the fixed costs of simply owning and maintaining their home are consuming 60, 70, sometimes 80% of their monthly income. That leaves almost nothing for groceries, healthcare, transportation, or any quality of life beyond staying in the house. Now compare that to a state like North Carolina. The average homeowner's insurance premium in North Carolina is approximately $1,600 to $2,200 per year, a fraction of Florida's current figures. Property taxes in most North Carolina counties are significantly lower than Florida's actual effective rates once you account for the full picture. And while North Carolina has its own weather risks, particularly in coastal and mountain areas, the overall insurance environment is dramatically more stable and competitive. That gap between what a retiree pays to own a home in Florida versus what they pay in North Carolina or several other states. The insurance market on life supports Citizens Property Insurance. There's one more piece of this puzzle that I need to explain, because it affects hundreds of thousands of Florida homeowners directly, and almost nobody outside the state fully understands it. When private insurers started leaving Florida, homeowners who couldn't find coverage in the private market had one option: Citizens Property Insurance Corporation. Citizens is Florida's state-backed insurer of last resort, a government entity created specifically to provide coverage when the private market won't. And in recent years, Citizens has grown from a last resort backstop into one of the largest insurers in the state, with a policy count that ballooned to over 1.4 million policies at its peak. Here's the problem. Citizens is not structured to be a primary insurer for a massive portion of the state's housing stock. It is capitalized to handle a certain level of claims, but a major hurricane season that produces multiple large storms could push Citizens into insolvency. And if Citizens becomes insolvent, Florida law has a mechanism for assessing all Florida insurance policyholders, including auto insurance customers, to cover the shortfall. That means a catastrophic hurricane season doesn't just hurt the people whose homes were damaged, it creates a financial assessment that hits virtually every insured person in the state. Florida has been actively trying to depopulate citizens, pushing policyholders back into the private market as new carriers enter. But the private market alternatives being offered to former citizens, customers frequently come with premiums significantly higher than what Citizens was charging, and in some cases, with less comprehensive coverage. For retirees who have been with Citizens for years and suddenly receive a takeout offer from a private carrier at double the premium, the financial shock is immediate and severe. Where retirees are going, 3 insurance-friendly states. So where are the retirees who are making the move actually going? Based on migration data, real estate trends, and the insurance cost comparisons that are driving these decisions, 3 states are emerging as the primary beneficiaries of Florida's insurance crisis. The first is North Carolina, particularly the Asheville area, the Research Triangle, and the southern Piedmont region. North Carolina offers a genuinely compelling combination: moderate climate, 4 seasons without brutal extremes, strong healthcare infrastructure in its mid-sized cities, no state tax on Social Security income, and homeowners insurance premiums that are a fraction of Florida's current rates. The mountains provide an escape from the heat that more and more retirees are prioritizing as Florida summers become increasingly difficult for older adults. The second state drawing significant retiree migration is Tennessee, specifically the Knoxville and Chattanooga corridors. Tennessee has no state income tax at all, meaning Social Security, pension income, and investment withdrawals are all free from state taxation. Property values in many Tennessee markets are still relatively affordable compared to Florida's coastal areas, and the insurance environment is stable, competitive, and dramatically less expensive than what retirees are facing when they open their Florida renewal notices. The third destination is Georgia, particularly the area north of Atlanta and several smaller cities in the central and coastal regions. Georgia offers reasonable property taxes, a relatively stable insurance market, proximity to major airports and medical centers, and a cost of living that allows fixed-income retirees to stretch their dollars in ways that are simply no longer possible in Florida's current environment. None of these states is perfect. North Carolina has its own weather risks. Tennessee's healthcare infrastructure outside of its major cities can be limited. Georgia's summer heat, while less extreme than Florida's, is still significant, but in every case, the insurance cost comparison alone, the actual dollar difference in annual premiums, is compelling enough to drive the decision for retirees who are watching their monthly budget get squeezed from every direction. What this means for you? Here's what I want you to take away from everything we've covered today. The Florida insurance crisis is not a story about bad luck or temporary market conditions. It is a structural problem driven by climate risk, legal environment, and reinsurance costs that are not going to reverse on a short timeline. The reforms that have been implemented are steps in the right direction, but their effects will take years to fully materialize, and the retirees who are waiting for the market to correct itself before making a decision may find that they've waited until their financial flexibility has already been consumed by premium increases. The retirees who are getting ahead of this are the ones who are running the full numbers, not just the mortgage payment, not just the property tax, but the complete cost of ownership, including insurance, HOA fees, utilities, and healthcare access. When you run those numbers honestly and compare them against the alternatives, the picture in Florida looks very different than it did 5 or 10 years ago. That doesn't mean Florida is the wrong choice for everyone. There are retirees for whom the lifestyle, the family connections, the healthcare network, and the personal attachment to the state outweigh the financial costs. That's a completely legitimate calculation, but it has to be a conscious, informed calculation, not a default assumption that the Florida retirement dream still costs what it cost in 2018. The ones packing their bags aren't giving up on retirement. They're protecting it.